The macro options are on the Tools menu in LibreOffice, but the option to record a macro isn't there to begin with when you first install LibreOffice. So what you need to do is go to Options at the bottom of the Tools menu, and you need to select Advanced on the left-hand side, and then at the bottom there's this tick box to enable macro recording. And once you do that, if you go back to the Tools menu, then you've got the option to record the macro. So once you select that, the LibreOffice macro recorder starts to record your actions. It doesn't matter how long you take to do them because it cuts out the time between the steps. It only records what you actually do. You get this pop-up button that says stop recording. So what you do is you do the steps that you want to record. So in this case I'm going to delete the number of litres and the amount tendered. And then think about getting ready for the next step. So I'm going to click in that box there, ready to enter the next number of litres, and that's me done. So I'm just going to click on stop recording. So LibreOffice is different from Microsoft Office in that you get a choice of recording your macros and storing them either centrally or in the file. If you want to send them to other people, or obviously in your case submit your file, what you need to do is save them in the file, otherwise the macro won't go with the file when you send it. So it is a bit of a faff compared with Excel. So what you need to do is you need to select the file at the bottom. So POS is the name of my file, which you can see from the top of the window there. So we need to select where it says standard underneath, and we do need to click on this button here that says new module, and then we click on OK, and then we select that, and then we type in the name of the macro. So I'm going to call it next customer. So I'm not going to use any spaces, so you can use things like underscores or you can use capital letters to separate words. And then I'm going to click save. And now if we go back to Tools and Organize Macros, we should see that the next customer macro is there. But if we go through there to run it, which we can do, that's probably going to take longer than actually just deleting those values ourselves. So what we want to do is we want to add a button to the screen so we can click the button and run the macro and clear those values. So what we need is the form controls toolbar, which again doesn't appear by default, but we can get it to appear by going to View and Toolbars and ticking Form Controls. And that gives us this toolbar here with various controls that we can add to the LibreOffice page. So this one just above halfway that says OK on it is the button, as it were. So if I select that, I can then draw on a button. And again, unlike Microsoft Office, it doesn't ask me what I want that button to do. So if I want to get the button to run that macro, what I need to do is click the right mouse button, and then I need to go to Control, and then I need to go to Events. So these are things that can trigger the macro, so various different things. So you can get macros to trigger just when you move the mouse over things, but probably you want to get this to run when the mouse button is pressed. So you follow the line over, click on the button with the 3 dots on, and then you click macro at the top there, and then you find the macro that we just saved. So we go down to the file, then standard, then module 1, select module 1, click on next customer. So it's basically the same process but a lot more steps than Excel. And now we click on OK and we close that. Now the other difference between Excel and LibreOffice is that we've got this button at the top right of the toolbar that turns or toggles between design mode and the mode where you can actually operate the button. So at the moment this button isn't going to do anything when I click it because we're in design mode. So if I click this top right button, notice that the handles disappear, and now if I type in some numbers, so I'll put in an amount tendered as well and click the button, then hopefully what we should see is those values disappearing. It's also slightly more difficult to change the text on the button, so again what we need to do is we need to make sure we're in design mode, and we need to click the right mouse button and go to Control, and this time we're on the General tab and we're looking at the label. So the label is what it says on the button. So I'm going to type in next customer and close that, and there, that's what it says on the button now, next customer. I'll click the top right mouse button to turn off design mode, and now we've finished with the toolbar. So if I close that, that'll hide that and tidy things up a bit now. So now I've got my button, it says next customer, and when I click on it, it'll delete the number of litres and the amount tendered.